Good day everyone, Mr. Cargill here with our next Autocad video. Now in this video, we're going to look at how we go about completing this isometric drawing right here. Alright, it's a relatively simple isometric drawing. It does have some curves and all of that, but it's a relatively simple drawing. So for this drawing, as you know with Autocad, you just turn on IsoDraft right here, just click on IsoDraft, and now we can draw in isometric. So for this drawing, we can literally start anywhere. We could start on the right side, on the left, at the front, or at the top. But let's start on the left side here. So for the left side, it says that this is 25 and this is 70. So this side here is 70 and then this height is 25. So we can start off with a rectangle that is 25 by 70. So I'll just select a line. And then I'll draw this line down here. Alright, to ensure that you're in isoplane right, or ensure that you're in isoplane right to draw this line. So I'll draw this line 25. You can use isoplane right or left for that line, and then I'm going to draw this line down. So to draw this line down here, I'm going to have to switch to isoplane top. So to switch to isoplane top, I can come here and click on isoplane top, or I can select Control F5. I think for some people, depending on which version you're using, it might just be F5, but for me it's Control F5. I know it changes the plane, so I can draw this line on this plane. So this is 70. And then I can bring this up by, no, I don't need to bring that up. Well, yeah. And then I'll just draw next line here by 70. Good, so I have this side. There's a curve here, but we're going to get to the curve afterwards. So then it says that this distance is 110. Alright, so that distance is 110. So that means over here we'd have a line that is 110. So we need to do Control F5 or just change to isoplane top. And then now I can draw this line here. So for here, this line is going to be 110. Good, and I can draw this line down here again, or I can just simply copy this line from here and bring it down to this point. So now we have the front here and we have the side here. Nice. So it says that we have a curve here of a radius with a radius of 16 millimeters. Now you might say, well, it is a curve and we have two lines meeting at an angle, so we can use the fillet command. Do not use the fillet command when you're doing isometric circles. This is the reason. If I should use the fillet command here, this is what will happen. I'm going to do the fillet command and show you. So with the fillet command, if I click on that line and then type R, enter, and then set the radius for 16, enter, and click on this line. Alright, and you get your curve there. You might think that that is the actual curve that you need, but it's not. I'll show you the actual curve that you need. So this is the curve that you need. Alright, so this is the curve right here. So I'll just do this now. Let me just extend this line out back like this. I just want to show you the correct curve. So yeah, when you're doing isometric drawings, don't use fillet, use isocircle, and we'll see how that works here. So let me trim this. So this is the fillet. So I'm going to let you see the actual space where the circle would be, or the arc. So what you'll do for the edge here, I will draw a line over by 16 because the radius is 16. So I'll draw this line over by 16, and then I'll bring this line up by 16. Good. So that would be the center of my isocircle. So now if I select ellipse, type ellipse, click on ellipse, and then you can type I or just click on isocircle. It says specify center of isocircle, so the center is there, and I'll bring that circle down to there. So this curve here, this curve is the actual curve that you need, not the fillet curve. Alright, so don't use the fillet when you are doing isometric drawings and isometric circles. So I can delete this. Alright, so now I can trim these lines here. So I can delete this. and I can trim this and this. Nice. So then now there's also a curve down at the base down here. So I'm going to trim this circle, but first let me do this. I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to copy it from this end here, and I'm going to bring it down. I could copy it from the center as well, so I need to change this. I need to do Control F5, and I'll bring it down by 25 because the height is 25. So I'll just type 25, and it comes down to that point. So now I can trim down here as well. So I'll trim this. Oh, sorry. Let me do this. Let me Control Z. So if I type trim, and it's not, if it's going to trim the entire line here, what I need to do is this. I just need to draw a line from this endpoint here, from the actual tangent here. So let me do this. So from that end, I'll draw a line there, and then I'll draw a line down here. So let me select Control F5, and I'll just bring a line down like that, and then I can trim now. So TR, enter, enter. So I can trim here, and I can trim here, and I can trim that part of the circle, and then I can delete my lines. I just use the lines so that I could be able to trim the circle, and then I can trim this circle up here. Then I can remove this line. Nice. So let's finish up with the front here. So for the front, it says there's an indentation, and we come down by 12. This total distance is 110. All right, this total distance is 110 millimeters. So if this is 110 millimeters, and then this is 30, if this is 110 and this is 50, this distance is 50. 50 from 110 leaves 60, and the drawing is symmetrical. So that leaves 60. So that would be 30 on this side and 30 on that side. That means that from here to here is 30, and from here to over here is also 30. So this is what we do. Before we come to the front here, I'll start with the side, and then we'll come to the front and finish up the front here. So for the side, it says that this distance is 15. Good, so this is 15, and then that depth is 15. So we'll do this. From the edge here, I'll draw a line 15 and bring this across. I'll type Control F5, bring this across 15. So that point here is this point right here. So then it says we come down by a distance, and that distance is 25. How do I know it's 25? Because this total distance is 40. So if this distance is 40 and this is 15, 15 minus 40 would be 25. So that means that this distance here is 25. So I'd bring this down by 25, enter, and then bring this across by a certain distance. Now you might say that that distance is not given, but I know that distance. How do I know that distance? From here to over here is 30. We just worked that out earlier. So if this is 15, this has to be 15 as well, because 15 plus 15 gives me 30. So this would be 15. And then that comes down to this point over here. Right there. So let me just trim off this piece. Nice. All right, so here now I can bring this down. So it says that this comes down by 12. So I'll do this. I'll bring this down by 12. So Control F5. So this comes down by 12. And then we can bring this across, and the distance that this comes across by is 50. So we bring this across by 50, and then bring it back up to this line up here. All right. Nice. Just trim this piece here. Have it. So we can trim out this line. We don't need this line for anything, do we? No, I can trim out that line. So then now we have a curve here, and the next curve here, and the next curve over here. So we can just do this. The curve has a radius of 6, so it says radius 6, R6. So from here, I'll draw a line across by 6, and then draw that line up by 6. So that's 6. Alright, so what I'll do now is to type ellipse, and then click on iso circle here, and from this center, I'll bring that down like this. So now I can trim, TR, enter, enter, and I can trim this section and that section and this part of the circle, and then I can delete this. And then I need to do the same thing over here. So I'll do select a line, come to this corner, bring this across by 6, bring this up by 6, select a circle. From here, bring this down. Actually, not circle, an ellipse. My bad. I for iso circle. Come here, bring this down, and then we can trim TR. Enter, enter. So trim this, trim this, trim that, and then we can delete this line. Nice. So now this depth here is 30. That's given. It says that that distance is 30. So what we can do is to just bring this distance back by 30. So Control F5, bring this back by 30. Nice. So we have that. So what that represents is this point here. So this depth is 12. This distance that it goes down by here is 12. We know that. So we can simply bring this down by 12. We could do that, or we could simply do this. We could just copy this line here, and copy this. Select modify, copy, and just copy. Instead of drawing an iso circle and everything over there, we can just copy this from here and bring it over there. Good. And then trim out what we don't need. So we can trim out what we don't need. So we can TR and trim this part. Nice. So we have that front part there. So now this distance here is 15. We know that because this is 15. So this has to be 15 because the object is symmetrical. So, and it doesn't say the object is symmetrical, but once certain measurements aren't given, like this measurement isn't given and stuff like that, then that would mean that the object is symmetrical. Otherwise, those measurements would have been given. All right, so this distance is 15. And then we go up by 55 because it says here we go up by 55. All right, so we will go up by 55. So Control F5, and then we go up by 55. Enter. Good. So I'll leave that there for now, and then I'll sort out the other parts that are down here. So this distance here, we would bring this all the way across. So let me do Control F5. I'll bring this across. TR, enter, enter, trim this piece here. So I'll bring this across to where it meets right here. So that's this line. But as you can see, there's a curve here, and that curve has a radius of 16, just like this one. So for that, we'll just do a line. Select a line. Bring this down here by 16. So from here to here is 16. Well, actually, yeah, here to there is 16. Control F5, and then bring this across by 16. So that means if I select a circle from here, not a circle, an ellipse, my bad, again, and type I for isocircle, and then we come here, bring this like that, we get to a curve. So we can do this. We can trim this portion and this portion, and I'm not going to trim the rest of the circle yet. Let me bring it down first. So I'm going to copy this circle. I can copy it from like this end or from the center or anywhere. So I'll copy it from the center here, and I'll bring it down. So Control F5 and bring this down by 25. So just type 25, enter, and there we have it down there. So we can trim this part of the line here, and if it's not trimming and it's in the line, you can just draw a line from right here, like from the center. Control F5 like that, so you can trim it now. So I can trim this now. So then I can delete this line, and then I can trim all these circles. Well, both these circles. So let me trim that part and trim. Well, I need to draw this line first before I trim. I need to draw a line here. So from this quadrant down to this quadrant here, just ensure that you have a quadrant turned on in Object Snap. All right. So to that quadrant. So then I can trim TR, enter, enter, and I can trim that, and I can trim this. If it's not trimming this and it's removing the entire circle, this is what we'll do. Oh, I just realized that I needed to do this here. I needed to connect this line to over to this tangent. Didn't realize I didn't do that. So there we have that. So now I can trim this. Trim this part of this circle. Trim this part of this circle. And I can now delete this line here. Alright, and I can now delete this here. So if this part isn't trimming and it's removing the entire circle, I can simply just do this. There's a number of things I could do. I could draw this line down here. And then now I can trim this. So there I have that. Now that I've gotten that, alright, so we're good with the front part of the drawing, other than the two circles right here. So to get the two circles, right, the circles are right in the center here. So if this is a let's say this was a rectangle, if there was no curve here, this would be a rectangle that would be 30 by 30, and the circles are dead center in that rectangle. How do I know that? Being that you're not given the location of the circles, but you can look at the drawing and see that the center line, if you continue the center line, it will meet up perfectly with this line here. If you continue the center line, it will meet up perfectly with this line here. So we know that, and the distance from here to here is 15, so that means that from here to the center of the circle is 15, and this is pretty much central as well. So based on the fact that you're not given that information, it would mean therefore that those must be located in a central area. So to get those circles, I can simply do this. That means that the distance from here to the center of the circle is 15. So I can draw this line down by 15. Alright, so I can draw that line down by 15. And then I can select ellipse. And then select isocircle. And then Control F5. Yep, there. And then now we can draw this. It says that the diameter is 10, so that means that the radius would be 5. So for me, I'll type 5. And the reason I type 5 is because my circles are set to center radius. If yours is set to center diameter, then you would do 10 instead of 5, because you would be using the diameter instead of the radius. Yeah, so there. I'm not going to delete that line. I can do this. I can simply just copy from here instead of draw the next isocircle and bring that to the right there. Alright, so it lines up with this edge and that edge, okay, and then I can delete these two lines, and there I have my two isocircles. So now for the top part of the drawing, which is relatively simple, select a line, and we don't have to select a line, we can actually just copy this line. So copy this line from here, bring it to this point here, bring it to here. Yeah. So then now it says that there's a slope from the top of this line to this point down here, and this line here is parallel to this line. So since we draw this line, we can copy this. So we can click on this, modify, copy from here and bring it across to there. Good. And then now there's a line that joins all of these things here. So we can select that line and bring it to there. Nice. So we're going to do this now. I'm going to bring this line over here. Now, as you can see in the drawing, this line doesn't go all the way over here, but we're going to draw the circles first, and then everything will sort itself out. So this is what we'll do. The center of the circle, the circle has a radius of 16, all right, and it would be in the center of this line. It's dead center. So what we'll do is to select ellipse, type I for isocircle. We can type I or click on isocircle. Let me do Control F5, yeah, and then I can click on this midpoint here, and the radius is 16. So for here, I'll type 16, and there we have the small circle. The large circle has a radius of 30. So I'll do the same thing. I can simply just press spacebar for the previous command, and then just click on I for isocircle, and then click on this center line again, and this time our radius is going to be 30. So there I have that. So now I'm going to trim the lower half of the large circle, because you can see that it's trimmed. So I'll type TR, enter, and I'll trim this. And then we need this curve over here. So for that, we'll just click on this circle. We're going to select copy, and we'll copy it from here, and we'll bring it back like that. So I need to do Control F5 and bring this back by 40. So 40, enter. Nice. So now all we need to do is to just join this to this here. I'm gonna do Control F5. Yeah, so this connects to this like that. And then this connects to this right here. So that means I can trim the rest of this line. So I can trim this and trim that and trim this. So now the next thing I need is this line that joins this curve to this curve here. So I'll simply just come over here and look for this quadrant. Just turn on quadrant in Object Snap and then join it with this quadrant here. Then I'll trim TR, enter, and I'll trim that. So I need one more line, which is this line that goes up here. So I'll simply just select line, come here, and just bring this back like that. Let me just trim this piece here. And there we go. Let me just ensure that I'm not missing any points or any curves, any lines, any circles. No, we're not. Yeah, so the drawing is complete. All right. So that is how you would go about completing this isometric drawing in AutoCAD. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, you could drop a like. That would be very, very helpful. You could also subscribe so that you can be notified when I release future videos. All right, so thanks for watching, and do have yourselves a fantastic day.